Shall we start with Tiffany Johnson on my left? This is the Brady Bunch.
Wonderful to meet you. So we have Tiffany, we have Maya. Lovely to meet you. Did I pronounce your name right? Okay, so it looks like I will go through the list of everybody as they introduce themselves because you're all muted. So we have Diana in Melbourne, Susanna in Australia. Which part of Australia? Alexandra, you are in Melbourne as well. Tiffany, you're in Melbourne. Lovely to meet you.
Hello.
Cindy, a good acquaintance of mine all the way in Ottawa, Canada. Lovely to see you on the call. This is awesome. We've got Kim coming from New South Wales. Jenny, Kennedy. Jenny, you're right here in New Zealand. Great to have you on the call in New Zealand in Mount Maunganui. Renee in Melbourne.
Hello.
Karen. Benita, you are in Dubai. I hope I pronounced the name right. That looked like Xhosa. I hope my Xhosa is still working in South Africa. Lovely to see you on the call. Karen Ingram in Melbourne under lockdown. Good luck, girl. I feel for you.
Yeah, me too.
Tracy, you are in mid-north coast, New South Wales. Lovely to see you on the call. Beatrice, Nessa. Wow, this is absolutely awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's webinar. I love to respect the people who show up on time, and we will start dead on 8. It's about a minute to 8 o'clock now. Wonderful to meet you all today. So I'm going to ask
that's where you need to come in, sweetheart.
Mute yourselves. I am getting Susanna. You're sharing something.
Yeah, that's it.
That's interfering with
It's in here, Heather, on the laptop in here. Got it set up.
Please mute yourselves so that there isn't any background noise. I can hear Heather. I'll try and mute you. And I'm just doing this so that we can move through today's webinar. I can give you heaps of content on how to create a successful career as a TED speaker. There will be points in my presentation where I'll stop and I'll share my screen because there's certain things that I really want you to get. And don't worry too much about making notes because I'm recording everything and you will get the recording after the presentation today. I'd love to welcome my beautiful sister coming to us all the way from Zimbabwe, Ruth Denguani. Good to see you on the call. Do get to be Ruth. Ruth, wave so everybody can see you. She is my right-hand woman, and you'll be hearing a lot about our sisterhood, our sistership, as I share my story. So we are dead on 8. And like I said, I love to honor the people that show up and show up on time. I think it's really important when you've committed to doing something to be there when you say you're going to be there. So imagine 1 year from now, your annual income was your monthly income. And you've got access to thought leaders, men and women that you've only ever dreamed about having access to. But they're now on your mobile phone, and you can have access to them anytime you want. You probably look back and wonder why you've wasted so much time not doing the things that got you to become successful as a speaker and give you the status that you deserve. Well, during this webinar, we are going to discuss those, and we'll end up with an opportunity. And I know some of you will have the budgets to join me on this journey. Some of you will not, but there are ways that we can get around that. And I'm going to give you everything that I have learned. I want to motivate you, inspire you, persuade you, influence you to come on board on this rocket ship, because we are going to build something phenomenal together going forwards. So I did thank you for showing up. I want you guys to participate through the chat. If I say something and you've got a question, just throw it in the chat. It's going to be a very fast-paced presentation because I've got heaps to share. But hopefully at the end, we'll get to answer some of those questions. But I don't want you to wait until the end because you'll forget. Or if I say something that resonates, that really hits home, please share it in the chat as well. Take down some notes because sometimes if somebody says something that really makes sense, if you write it down, it reinforces the learning. So if you've got a notepad, although you are getting the recording, just make a note of those things as well. And let's switch off all distractions, please. Cell phones, husbands, children, dogs, cats. Let's try and have a good 90 minutes with no distractions where I can take you through this amazing process that got me to be a six-figure inspirational speaker. So I'm going to share my screen for a few minutes because we have a gift at this particular moment in time that a lot of people are missing. And that gift is COVID-19. A lot of people don't see it as a gift. My grandmother used to say that every single day presents you with a blessing or a teaching. And COVID-19 is presenting us all with something magical. It's a magical opportunity. The word for crisis in Chinese is broken up into these two symbols, danger and opportunity. And COVID-19 is presenting us with both. Would you like to know what that is? The first thing that I've discovered about COVID-19 is that it's given us the gift of time. People are seeking opportunities online to learn something new. And if you're a speaker, if you're a coach, if you have knowledge that you can teach and share with someone else, the time is now. The biggest gift that I got out of COVID-19 came through a very sad situation in my personal life. So we locked down in New Zealand very early in March. I was due to go back home to Zimbabwe to visit my mom. She was ill at the time, and she was hospitalized with pneumonia. In a country where there is no test kits, the medical environment there is not very good. And I was due to go home the Saturday that they locked down. 3 weeks later, she died. This is the first time I've appeared in public since the 26th of April, which was the date of my mother's funeral. And the reason why I came online is because I decided to make a decision to either stay down and stay low or to get myself up, share my story, and make my mother proud. So I didn't get to go to her funeral. And it absolutely crushed my heart. Facebook ads at the moment are at a record time low. And thought leaders need to know how to capitalize on this opportunity. And the process I'm going to share with you is a process for anybody who has a story. Do you have a story to share?
Yep.
Please say yes in the chat, and I'll ask you to mute yourself so that we don't cut into the presentation. Have you developed a process in life or a business that you want to share or teach?
Yes.
Change.
Yes.
Are you a change maker? Somebody who wants to change something in your life, in your environment? Are you a visionary who wants to create a better future for your children? Are you a tribal leader? Are you trying to build a tribe, a following, people who identify with who you are, what you stand for? and you want to grow your tribe? Or are you a social entrepreneur like me and you want to make a difference? So, why are being on this call? The speaking business is and it's a business that can generate multiple, and I'm talking about multiple streams of income. And also passive income if you know exactly what to do and how. You need to learn how to repurpose your intellectual property and ideas. You need to learn how to express yourself and create an impressive digital footprint all over the internet so you can be visible. You need to start looking at a better way to operate your speaking business so that you genuinely get more time and more money. So how are we going to do all of this? Do some of these things sound familiar to you?
Yep.
Okay, so I can hear one person who's chiming in. So somebody's not muted. I can't tell who it is.
Oh, sorry, I use it first time. I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'll mute you. Don't worry. Thank you. So if you are that person who is thinking, what do I want to do? I am on a mission in the next 30 days to help create 30 TEDx speakers. I want to help 100 speakers to earn a 6-figure speaking fee. And it's easy because I've done it. Would you like to be one of those people? Would you like to take up that challenge? Do you want to inspire 1 million people, thought leaders like us, who show up for events like this? So why is my coaching different? There are newspaper articles, reporters who are calling my movement a social revolution for first-time speakers and authors, because it's causing a dramatic change in your life and in your speaking paid career. It produces results. In the last year, I got an additional 4 TEDx speaking opportunities. Ended up doing 3. I did my first one almost 10 years ago and another 2 last year. The 2 that I didn't attend, one fell on my wedding day and the other one fell on my daughter's wedding day. Weird coincidence, but the opportunities are there. And TEDx gives you the opportunity to have global engagement online and offline. And I'm hoping that I can help you find and build your tribe and help you live your life on purpose. There's going to be bonuses if you stay to the end of today's presentation, because my coach and my mentor is offering an opportunity to 20 people to work with us directly to create a speaking career for you. Again, I'm going to share my screen. I asked everybody to contribute questions before you came on this event. Some of you did, some of you didn't. Can you put in the chat if you did? Can you put in the chat if you didn't? The reason why I'm asking is because life is like a game of soccer. Now I have somebody sharing this screen again. Let me see if I can manage this. I'm not sure who it is. But this is interfering with the presentation. So if you are sharing the screen, please stop doing that. Okay, thank you. So if you didn't, you missed an opportunity, because I believe if you've been invited to come and learn something and somebody asks you, what would you like to learn? You need to contribute.
I said what I wanted to learn.
Do was to make sure that I delivered appropriate content during this presentation. When you're an expert, you know what you know, but you forget what your audience needs to know. That's why I pitched those opportunities to all of you. And life is like a game of soccer. They say that If you're watching a game of soccer, who sees most of the game? The players or the spectators? Anybody, just put in the chat. Players or spectators, quickly.
Here's the chat.
The answer is the players. The people who responded and gave me their questions are players. They're people who are awake, people who are alert, people who are curious, who want to know, who want to make these 90 minutes be worth their while. And the gift I'm going to give you is I'm going to personally respond to all of your questions with a personalized email in video. So like we're having a conversation and I can go in depth because I knew I wouldn't be able to answer all those questions during this webinar. So thank you for doing it. But the other reason why I asked the questions, because I am looking for 20 people to work with, only 20 out of this webinar. And I can see who my players are. I can see the kind of people who act like me. I'm the kind of person who goes to a seminar and I am at the front of the room. I'm that crazy woman who is asking questions, who wants to know more. There's no point in wasting 90 minutes of your time unless you get something out of it. So just remember that in future, because you're now in my database. I'll be doing further trainings and further coachings. If I ask you to ask me questions, please pitch in with your questions. A bonus you'll get at the end of today's presentation is how to learn the art of a story. In every single speech you give, there should be 3 acts to your story. In Act 1, you're putting up a setup. What is your presentation about? In Act 2, it's everything that happens to get you from point A to point B. If you're telling your story, if you're trying to explain a process. And in Act 3 is your resolution. It's your call to action. A lot of people fail with TED Talks because there is no call to action. You don't give people something they should do when they hear you speak. You don't give them tangible steps on where they can go next. People fail in giving presentations because there is no call to action in their presentations. I'm also going to share with you an amazing TED Talk. Now, I spend hours on TED. I refined my craft by watching other people speak. I would go in and I would find who are those people that have my kind of content. What are they saying? How are they saying it? How can I do the same with my presentations? They say that success leaves clues. Successful people will give you a blueprint that you can follow. So use TED to find the winning title for your next presentation. Use TED to find speakers who are saying the kind of things you're likely to share, your kind of content, when you give your presentation. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. These people are coaches, they're mentors. I'm going to ask Julie Ross to either unmute yourself, take yourself off video, because you are visible and I'm not sure why. I can see it's just your name, but something is going wrong. Okay, so use TED. TED is a blueprint that helps us learn how to do things smartly. Okay, so success leaves clues. There is a TED Talk that explains the secret structure of great talks. The researcher who put this together researched the best presentations in the world: Martin Luther King, J.F. Kennedy, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, and there is a rhythm, there is a structure on how to give a good talk, and I will share that with you at the end. It is an amazing formula. I have used it in every single speech that I have ever given. So let me now tell you a little bit about me. who I am, where I'm from, what I stand for, and how I got to where I am today. I really want you to leave today with an essence of who it is you'll be working with if we move forward together. So, my name is Gertrude Machen. I'm hoping some of you have had an opportunity to watch some of my TED Talks. I was born in a small little village in Zimbabwe with no electricity, no running water, arrived in New Zealand 20 years ago with no money, 3 children. We didn't even have enough money for my husband's air ticket. And what I managed to do since I got to New Zealand has been absolutely phenomenal. I live here in beautiful Wellington. I am the founder and global curator for my own speakers platform called the Her Story Women's Global Empowerment Circle. I'm the founder of a fashion line called Simzisani. I'm an international 3-time TED speaker. I have created my own platform in the last 12 months and had conferences in Grenada, in Albuquerque. I launched in Las Vegas, here in Wellington, Sydney, Australia. Beginning of the year, I had 15 conferences lined up. I flew from Wellington to Oslo, Norway. We had a conference in London, in New York. Then COVID-19 hit and I had to come back to New Zealand. But on the way back, I managed to do a conference in New York, in Brisbane, one in Auckland, one in Hamilton. And another friend of mine hosted a conference in the Barbados. And we're going to have our first online summit. And that's when I realized that I had to reinvent myself during COVID-19. I couldn't have physical events anymore. My business had taken off. I focused on women over the age of 50. And I'll explain why, because all of you are women and there is an opportunity for all of you, if you're looking for a successful coaching business, to get clear who your avatar is. Who is your target market? If you're giving a TED Talk, who is that TED Talk for? When I take on clients, people will say to me, Gertrude, my presentation is for everyone. I can tell you now that no, it is not. There is a 33% rule when you share, when you sell anything. 33% of people will love everything you do. 33% of people just don't give a damn. And 33% of people are indifferent. They will hate you. So who is your 33% of the market? Because if you don't know who you're talking to, your marketing is going to be wrong. Your languaging is going to be wrong. The way you brand yourself is going to be wrong. Do you know if you put an advert on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and you're targeting people from the age of 25 to 35, compared to my demographic, which is 50 plus, it's a completely different language. I have to use the words that get through to that younger woman. I have to use the words that get through to that older woman. I have to pre-qualify the people who come onto my calls. And you can see through my marketing, I deliberately targeted people in a specific location of a specific age group. And that's why you are all here today. It is very deliberate. There is no accident that you're here. So I started off my career by writing a book. I self-published my first book. My mission was to sell 100 copies of my book every single month. And I wanted to start a foundation to support the orphaned children in my immediate family in Zimbabwe. And this book created my speaking career. The AIDS pandemic in Zimbabwe affected my family in a very big way. My grandmother had 11 children. She had 34 grandchildren. 19 of my first cousins died of HIV-related diseases. There were 49 orphaned children on my family alone, another 40 on my ex-husband's side. And I was trying to just raise money so I could help pay for school fees. It only cost $5 in Zimbabwe to send a child to school. So what did I do? I started looking for speaking opportunities. I went all over Wellington doing things for free. I would speak at social networking groups like Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, Probus, any group that needed a guest speaker. I was there speaking for free, and I would hit my target and sell my book at $35 and generate $3,500 a month for 5 years. Then something magical happened. People started passing my name to event planners. They started calling me. I started getting invitations to speak at different events. I then started to invest in myself like you're doing now, going online, doing webinars, learning from online coaches. And I found my coach, who I will be sharing with you a bit later in this presentation. I found my mentors, and I started coaching people to write their own books. And every single time I was invited to speak, I would write an ebook that I could give away, and it generated another revenue stream for me. I was talking about the same subject, which was my life, but out of my life, I could pull out different things that I had done. For example, I started a property investing business when I got to New Zealand, bought my first house in New Zealand, ironing people's clothes to raise the $20,000 that I needed. I was trained as a systems analyst, but after work, I put an advert in the newspaper. I would say, I will pick up your laundry, iron it, and bring it back. People started calling my phone. I went to the laundromat, got the price lists, created a small business where I ironed people's clothes at night. It took me 3 months to raise my $20,000 to start my property business. Within 6 years, I had bought 14 properties, valued in 2015 at 4.5 million. And I was just this crazy little African woman who came to New Zealand with a dream, with no money, and I started teaching people how to invest in properties. So what have you done in your life, in your career that you can teach? What have you done in your career that you can write about, so that you have a book at the back of the room that you can sell and share with the people that you work with? Now, as I was going through this process of learning how to present, I had a beautiful experience when I was in Mexico. I was speaking in front of an audience with 3,000 people. I had a PowerPoint presentation all ready to go, and something went wrong. The PowerPoint presentation could not connect with the computer, and I'm standing in front of 3,000 people. I lost my crutch. I was stuck. And I remembered closing my eyes and asking for guidance. And this voice in my head said, take off your shoes. And I took off my shoes, and I was told to speak from the heart. I delivered the most amazing presentation I have ever delivered. I actually spaced out. I don't even remember what I said. And when I was signing my book at the end of that presentation, people would say to me, Gertrude, can you write down what you said? And I couldn't remember. I had to watch the video. There's a man who came up to me and he hugged me. He put his arms around me. And he said, the words you said today was exactly what I needed to hear. And when he let me go, there was an electrical charge. He was a hairy guy. The hair on his chest stood up. His shirt was like this. The hair on his arms it was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. I had goosebumps all over me. And he said to me, Gertrude, do you realize that you channel when you speak? I said, no, I don't channel. I don't do that. He said, you are channeling. Then I started studying the power of the human heart. He told me to go onto the Heart Math Foundation. And the Heart Math Institute tells us that the human heart has a magnetic field that spans the length of your arms. So depending where you are speaking from, you send out a magnetic field that people can feel. So when you have a PowerPoint presentation, it's a crutch because you're looking at the words, you're trying to memorize what you're going to say, you disconnect with your audience. So what I do is I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I prepare one, I rehearse with it, but when I'm presenting like this, I get rid of my aid. Sometimes I have a PowerPoint presentation, but all I have are just pictures that guide me through the content of what I want to talk about, like what I'm doing now. I can explain what the Heart Math Foundation is all about because I've done a lot of study about it. So I use these pictures as prompts. The reason why I have lots of words on these slides is because I want to give these slides to you. So you will get them as a PDF, and you will get the video so you can watch this all over again. So speaking from the heart is going to help you find those events, find those speaking opportunities, how to pitch yourself as a speaker, how to gain credibility on and offline, how to advertise online, how to market and promote yourself, how to create your own events the same way that I've created mine, how to share your vision and lead your own tribe of followers. But most importantly, how to pitch yourself to TED events, how to impress those TED event organizers, and to know what they're looking for when they look for speakers for their platforms. So it's all about understanding that it's not about technical perfection, but emotional perfection. People go to Toastmasters and they're taught how to present right down to the T, but they don't get through to their audience because of this disconnect that I've just shared with you now. So my mission in the next 12 months is to help 1 million female speakers worldwide get through this. And I'm doing this having gone through a separation and a divorce after 27 years of marriage. I'm recovering from heart failure because I was depressed. I ended up with hypertension and I collapsed in a rice field in Bali 3 years ago. I launched a new business a year ago in 10 locations globally and was stopped in my tracks by COVID-19. But still, I was able to see the opportunity to take this online. Everybody is online right now, people. And the magical thing about presenting online is you cut out all of those costs that normally limit us from traveling overseas to go and speak for free. You can do it online for free. So the difference that my training will give you is that it's tailored for your individual needs. If you say yes, I will meet with you. I will guide you step by step on how to get through this. It's been tried and tested on me and several of my clients. You get my years of coaching from some of the best coaches and mentors in the world, and interactive feedback so you're not alone. I have created a group of people that I coach. So it's a community. You're not going to be on your own. And I think that's been the biggest blessing that I've had through my coaching, is that I've always been surrounded by like-minded people like me who are learning, who are trying to get far with their speaking careers. So, is this for you? Do you want to inspire and empower other people? Are you technically trained, but you're failing to connect authentically? Please tell me yes or no in the chat. Are you looking for those opportunities to be a change maker? I'm going to pause for a minute and see what has come up in the chat. Lots of yeses. And the biggest opportunity I want to give is anybody who wants to be part of her story. I'm actually looking for my first 20 franchise owners or license owners. Put that in the chat as well so I can make a note to contact you personally after this event. All right, so speaking. Why is it so important? Why is it important? My mother used to say that so long as you are this side of the grave, live life to the full. Don't take your story to your grave. They say the most brilliant places in the world are graveyards because they're full of people who had ideas, who had the knowledge, who had the skills, but they didn't have the courage to share it. They didn't have the courage to write it down in a book. People go to their graves with this. Is that going to be you? I almost died in Bali in 2017. And dying is like losing your breath. I remember trying to catch my breath and breathe. This thing that we take for granted, our breath is precious. But we don't realize that until you get to a point where you almost lose it. So I want to reward you for coming this far in the presentation so far. I have heaps of bonuses that I'm going to be giving away. I want to see how I can work with you and help you reach your target and create that 6-7 figure business that I've managed to create. So one of the things you will receive, you're all going to get my Speaking from the Heart ebook that's being released on the 1st of August. You're also going to get my How to Write a Book in 40 Hours. And I'm going to share all of the answers to the Q&A questions based on the questions that you asked for from today. I think it's really important for us to share, because in the sharing of questions, somebody could ask a question that's related to something that you want to know. And that's why the group coaching is really effective. Because somebody could ask me a question in the group and I'm addressing it to one person in specific, and you might not ever even thought about that question. So I'm going to show you now exactly step by step how I've got to this point and how I'm going to help you get to your point. So my first TED Talk came as an opportunity that I got from the Mayor of Wellington. The Mayor of Wellington came and heard me speak. So when I got to New Zealand as an immigrant, I wanted to connect. I wanted to get to know people. I didn't know a lot of people. So I started going to events, and I used to volunteer at the refugee service. They had an event for Race Relations Day, and they asked me to read a poem. I read my poem. At the end of the event, this lady came up to me and said, "Where did you get that poem from?" I told her I was writing a book. She says, "You are amazing. I'm the Mayor of Wellington. Tell me what I can do to help you." I became friends of the mayor by just reading one little poem at that event. She ended up launching my book in the mayor's chambers. I could literally call the Mayor of Wellington if I was in the city and just go and join her for a cup of tea. Just like that. Amazing woman. So when Wellington had its first TED event, she put my name forward. She nominated me for it. And it absolutely changed my life. My first TED Talk has got about 70,000 views. And I'll share with you the opportunities that came out of that first TED Talk. And then I started having to think about, who am I as a speaker? How am I going to show up in the world full of speakers? What is going to be my point of difference? So one of the things that people forget is that as a speaker, you are a product. You are no longer you. You have to create a brand that is so unusual, you stand out. And I take people through a personal branding profile. So when I started branding myself, again, they say success leaves clues. I looked at women that I admire, women that I want to be like. Oprah is my go-to person. I am going to be like Oprah. And so I started watching what she does. Oprah is the brand. Her image is on every single magazine. If you say the word Oprah, everybody knows what Oprah looks like. I'm going to ask you to take just a minute to go on Google right now. Type in my name, Gertrude Mache. Remember, my name is misspelled. It's Getrude, surname Mathe. And see how many Google references there are about me. Go into Google Images as well and see how many pictures of me you will see on the internet. Just do that quickly and come back and say yes or no. Quick, quick, quick. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I deliberately created a digital footprint using the internet. So if somebody Googles Gertrude Mache, they find me. My personal branding words came from one of my clients. I got a testimonial from this lady. She said something like, Gertrude is a vibrant bundle of African energy. And I thought, wow, that feels like me. I pulled out the word African because I show up as being African first. You can see the way that I dress. I did not want people to mistake me as being African American or Caribbean or someone of African descent. I wanted people to say, do you know that African woman? She's amazing. She lives in New Zealand. She's an amazing coach. She's an amazing author. So when I go and speak, I wear my traditional African clothes. I am proud of being African. But the biggest thing is, it is my point of difference. It's my unique selling point. I live in Wellington. There aren't many African people here. So what is it about you that can make you stand out, that can make you unique? When we talk about branding, it could be a symbol. If we said Nike right now, everybody knows that Nike is the tick sign. So you could brand yourself using a symbol. If I said Coca-Cola and you close your eyes, the colors red, black, and white show up. So you could use colors to build a very distinct brand. So how are you going to show up? So that's part of the coaching you get with me, to help you develop a brand that really stands out. And whenever you speak, you have got 30 seconds to impress people. 30 seconds. They say you have to give people a visual bite, so the way you look is important. I dressed up. This is 8:45 in the evening. I rested during the afternoon because I wanted to have lots of energy to be able to present to you tonight. So I was asleep the whole afternoon. I set my alarm. I had a shower, put on my makeup, and here I am, giving you as much energy as I can, because when you're presenting online, it's hard to get the feedback. It's easier when you're in person because you can see people's reactions. People will pause and they'll laugh and they'll talk. But online, unless you have the energy, people can't feel who you are. They can't feel what you're about. And you don't have to be an energetic speaker. You can be a very relaxed, somber speaker, but you have to come across. So that's what I've done for myself. The other word I chose for my branding out of this testimonial, she said a vibrant. Vibrant is one of my colors. Look at my house. Everything in my house is color. My house is painted in yellow and orange. The clothes I wear are vibrant colors. So my branding reflects that. What is that going to be for you? The energy part of my brand is represented with the fonts that I use to write my name, on my book covers, on my marketing material. Something as simple as a font can say a lot about a person. I am one of those out of the box kind of people. You can't keep me in a box. So I don't have a conservative font. If you're a conservative person, your fonts will be conservative. It says a lot about you. So I take all of my authors, all of my speakers through a personal branding workshop so we can work out how we can make you stand out. The reason why you found all of those photographs of me on Google is because people fail to optimize their photographs when they post them online. So you know when you take a picture with your phone, there's normally numbers or digits as the file name. You have to go in and rename all of your photos before you post them. That's what created the search when you put in my name, because search engines don't see pictures. They see words. So if somebody is searching for Gertrude Mache, they type in the words. If they go into Google Images, there are hundreds of pictures of me. It's deliberate. So every single time somebody invites me to come and speak, I give them my photo. The file has my name. Every single time I do a podcast, I'm interviewed online, I give them my photo. The file has my name so people can find you. That's what's called creating a digital footprint. And that, again, is part of my coaching. So in looking for my coaches, I met some amazing people who came online. So to summarize how I got started, I volunteered. Volunteer your craft. It helps you to speak. It helps you gain confidence. It helps you overcome fear. It also helped me diversify my content. By that, I mean, if you are a one-horse pony, if you present yourself to an events planner and you are a coach in grief counseling and that's all you coach, if you only coach in business but not family and relationships, if you don't have a diverse range of topics you can talk around, it limits the opportunities you can get. So if I heard that they're looking for speakers at a property investors conference, guess what? I can write a presentation based on how I created my property business. So you need to use all of the aspects of your life to create different types of content. But to become an expert at what you do, you need to show that you are an expert. So my first book is called Born on the Continent, Ubuntu. I talk about an African philosophy that has very little literature written. If you Google the word Ubuntu, you find Linux software. So I thought to myself, I'm going to wrap the Ubuntu philosophy around my personal story, and I'll go out into the world and teach that. Now I lecture in social anthropology at universities all over the world. Last week, I did a presentation for a university in Slovakia who were looking for people who could present in social anthropology online. Academic institutions are looking for people right now. They paid me €1,500 for a 1-hour lecture. So what can you teach that can be transferred to the academic world? I'm not a professor, I don't have a PhD, but people are hiring me to speak. So this is my halfway point in my presentation. I set my alarm so I don't run out of time. So where would you like to be in 3 years' time? Can you see the payoff in being coached and in being mentored? Can you see the sense in investing in a system that could help solve your major financial challenges right now? That's what Speaking from the Heart is all about. So one of my best coaches has come on board right now to help me help other people. He is a marketing genius. If you've written a book and it's not selling, if you've been trying to speak and you're not getting the speaking opportunities, it's just because you're not marketing properly. Anyone can write a book, ladies. Anybody can write a book. Anybody can be a speaker. But how do you market yourself? And that's what I want to show you with what I've done in marketing me. I ended up getting involved with Alex Mandosian. He was doing a webinar called Teleseminar Secrets. This is a man who's coached people like Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, all of the people that you saw me connected to on my landing page was through Alex Mandosian. He is incredible. And I ended up speaking on stage in the Palladium Theater with Bob Proctor and John DeMartini. And it changed everything. That's what got my speaking fee to go up. I got credibility because I was following these leaders. I got into their circle and they pulled me into their inner circle. And I was the only woman presenting. Do you know that right now, there are so many men who are speakers and very few women? Diversity and inclusion is on the page for any organization in the world right now. So why aren't we showing up, ladies? Why aren't we putting ourselves forward in a way that we can empower not just ourselves, but our children? So somebody asked, Gertrude, why women over the age of 50? I'm going to answer that question because I'll share with you the reason and how I found my target market. And it was through helping somebody with her personal branding. I was found after my event with Bob Proctor by Mrs. Rooney. If you know American football, there's an American football team called the Steelers in Pittsburgh. It's owned by billionaires. The Rooney family owned the football team. Mrs. Rooney was a professor at Robert Morris University. And when she retired, she created a position called the Rooney International Scholar, where they look for scholars and authors and musicians to come and bring the world to these rich American kids. They paid me $10,000 a month to lecture 2 hours a week for 6 months. I wrote my second book while I was there. And that's how my little story, my personal memoir, crossed over to the academic world. And the university bought my book in bulk. They bought books for all the students. So when you're an author and you have a book and you can sell it in bulk, again, it changes everything. So getting into the academic world is one of those things that I really want to show you how to do. So to summarize the importance of coaching, it's about working smart and not hard. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. Learn from what I've learned. You want to learn to follow those leaders, to work with people who can get you to those thought leaders. And you want to learn how to repurpose your content. And you repurposing your content could be that your book turns into a workshop. It can turn into a movie script. It can turn into a board game. If you are a business coach, you can actually repurpose your book into a game that people can play. That's another product for you. So you end up creating a coaching business with multiple streams of income. And it's not just you speaking, it's your book as well. So repurposing content. I take people's books to the Frankfurt Book Fair every year. Do you know that you can sell your intellectual IP in other languages? At the Frankfurt Book Fair, I represent authors. You write a book in English, you can sell it in Japanese, Chinese, German. You get paid an average of 5,000 to 35,000 euro per language if they buy it. One piece of content. Imagine if you got 10 foreign language buyers to buy your book at the Frankfurt Book Fair, what that could do for your income. So repurposing your content. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of leverage. I was invited by the International Coaching Federation in Florida to speak at their annual conference. It was the first time I had spoken professionally in the US. I didn't know how much to charge. And I called my father in Zimbabwe. I said, Dad, I have no idea what I'm doing. How should I do this? And my dad said to me, Gertrude, the fact that they called you all the way from America means that you have something. You've made an impression on someone. Close your eyes. Think of a number. Ask for what you want. It was the best advice my father ever gave me before he died. I closed my eyes and I thought it'd be so nice to earn $15,000 an hour. I wrote back to the events planner. Within 2 hours, she wrote back and said, fantastic, send us your contract. We'll book you. I could not believe it. So when I get booked to speak, I charge 50% upfront as a booking, to secure the booking, and 50% when I've done the job. I give them my contract. 3 days later, there's $15,000 in my bank account. And I thought, oh, shoot, they've made a mistake. They paid me upfront. So I got hold of the organizer and I said, I think you've made a mistake. Why did you do that? And the lady said, no, we paid $7,500. Now, I meant New Zealand dollars. And at the time, the New Zealand dollar was 1 to 2 to the US. I actually made $30,000 in an hour. But do you know the worst thing that I learned? is that I left $10,000 on the table. They had a budget for $25,000 US for their keynote. The lesson I learned is never tell people your price. As women, we undersell ourselves. We don't know our value. I didn't know how much I was worth. They were willing to pay 25,000 US. I would have made 50,000 New Zealand. I left that money on the table. So what I do now is I asked the organizers, what's your budget? I can work with your budget. Are you with me? We undersell ourselves. So that's another little tip for you. The other thing I learned at this particular conference is I've learned how to convert a room. I met Mark Victor Hansen, the guy who wrote Chicken Soup of the Soul, and he became my mentor. I wanted to find out from the best people who have self-published books, how they sold 500 million copies of their books. Mark Victor Hansen became a friend. I went to California. I did all of his coaching, all of his mentoring. He introduced me to Jack Canfield. That's how I got to know Jack Canfield. And Mark taught me how to sell without selling. Julie, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself again. You keep unmuting for some reason. So Mark taught me how to sell without selling. He said to me, Gertrude, people need permission to buy multiple copies of a book. Unless you tell them, they'll buy one copy. He put one line that has quadrupled my sales at the end of my speech. And the line is very simple. It's, I'm going to be at the back of the room signing my book tonight. Buy one for yourself, buy one for someone you love, buy one for someone who needs inspiring. It's neuro-linguistic programming. Guess what? At that particular conference, I asked the organizers how many books I should carry. They told me not to ship more than 100 copies. But through Mark's coaching, I know how to convert a room, and I will show you how to do this. I know my conversion rate is 70%. If I have 100 people in the room, I know 70% of people will buy from me. And it's because I have put my sales pitch in the presentation. Today, when you re-watch this coaching video, I have been giving my sales presentation to you from the very beginning. You don't wait until the end to sell. I've been asking you to respond. If it was a live event, I would say to you, put up your hand if I've made something that made sense. You get your audience to engage with you. You get them to say yes to what you're talking about. Does that make sense? You have to watch the room. You have to see how people are responding to you. If you just go on stage and just start prattling off your presentation because you think it's of value and you're not observing everybody in the room, you lose out. You miss those little opportunities. So it's all about selling without selling. I did this at a presentation for a Rotary Club in the South Island of New Zealand. There were about, they had about 200 people at this event. But because they had come from all over New Zealand, I realized that some of their members were not there. So at the end of my speech, instead of saying, buy one for yourself, buy one for someone you love, I changed the line. And I said, I'm aware you've come from all over New Zealand, and some of your members are not here. I'm going to recommend that you buy a box of my books. There's 28 books in a box. It's $980. Buy a box of books and share the copies with your members. I sold 17 boxes, $17,000 worth of books at one little event with 200 people there. When I met Bob Proctor in London, he knew that I had written this book to raise money to give away to kids in Africa. And he said to me, Gertrude, why are you selling this book? I said, Bob, that's how I make money. He said, Gertrude, you are limiting how much people can give you. So if you write a book and you have a philanthropic aspect to your work and you give away a percentage of what you make to a cause, people buy from you because people like change makers. They like people who think about other people other than themselves. Bob Proctor told me to start giving my book away at conferences. And I thought it would be the craziest thing I've ever done. Then I tried it. I was giving a presentation on the east coast of New Zealand in Hastings, small little town. The mayor of Hastings had heard me speak. And he said, Gertrude, I need you to come to Hastings. I need you to inspire people. Come and share your story. People are committing suicide. That year, there had been a drought in New Zealand and farmers were failing to pay back their debt. And I'm thinking, I'm not a psychologist. What am I going to say to a group of farmers who are committing suicide? And this man said to me, Gertrude, when I heard you speak, I felt as if you were holding up a mirror to my life. And for the first time, I realized how lucky I was to be Kiwi, to live in a country that has a social welfare system where my kids will never go hungry. He said, these farmers need to know that this is a phase, that things are going to be okay. Please come and share your story. So I went to Hastings. And I said to my ex-husband at the time, I'm going to print 1,000 copies of my book and I'm going to give them away. The mayor had booked a small venue that could seat 1,000 people. It cost me $2.80 to print my book. And I printed 1,000 copies and signed 1,000 copies and put them underneath everybody's seat. Remember how I told you Oprah is me? This is what Oprah does, right? So halfway through my presentation, I just said to everybody, I have a gift for all of you. If you reach under your chair, there is a copy of my book. I want you to take my story away so that if things get really hard, realize that you will get through this. If any of you have any loose change, my girlfriends are at the door. They were sitting there with baskets. Throw in any loose change you have. It cost me $3.80. I'd love to recover the money that I used to print the books. Do you want to know how much I made that night? To an audience of farmers who were financially bankrupt, I made $10,000. I remember one farmer waiting until everybody had left that theater. And he came up to me and he gave me a check for $1,000. And he said, Gertrude, you saved my life. I said, what do you mean? He said, I was on a cliff, about to drive my car over a cliff, when the email from the mayor's office came into my mailbox. He said, I was writing a letter to my wife, asking her for forgiveness for what I was going to do. And the headline of this email said, inspiring African speaker coming to speak to farmers in Hastings, and that's why I showed up. He said, I don't have the money. Keep this check. I will call you when I have the money. 6 months later, I cashed that check. So your personal story can save someone's life. I didn't tell them anything special. I'm just this African woman. Really rough life. I have so many negative things that have happened. Kiki, can I ask you to mute? Kiki Aya, I can hear you. Can I ask you to mute your mic? So you could show up in front of an audience and change someone's life. Pull someone off an edge where they're about to commit suicide. It could be a personal experience you've gone through that you share. I believe in the power of stories. I believe we can change the world through our stories. And that's why I want to teach as many women as possible to do the same thing. Stories are powerful. So the lessons that I learned from this experience is to acknowledge and celebrate my worth. And I want you to acknowledge and celebrate yours. I will show up as your coach and I will show you your blind spots. I will show you the things about yourself that you can't see in yourself. I'll show you how to measure your success and celebrate those measurements. Every single time you go and give a speech, calculate your conversion rate. I'll show you how to create a community and to understand perceived value of things. Never give anything away for free. When I created my own platform, I put it out on Facebook that I wanted to start this organization. I was looking for people like you to come on board and run the Her Story conference events. Within 48 hours, I had a database with 2,500 women in 380 locations around the world. I have a huge following on Facebook, and it was just incredible. The lady who said she would chair Las Vegas was going to be the chairperson for Las Vegas, for New York, and for Manila. She was from the Philippines. We spent 6 months last year planning the first event. 3 weeks before the first event, she called me and said, Gertrude, I've changed my mind. I'm going ahead with the conference, but not under your brand. I trusted her. She got a sponsorship from Google, Microsoft, and Craigslist. Everything was paid for. Everything. And she walked away with all the sponsors. I had recruited 100 speakers. She walked away with 50 of my speakers. 30 of my friends from New Zealand and Australia, women who've worked with me, who know me well, called me and said, Gertrude, you can't cancel. I had to cancel the event. I didn't have money. In the middle of all of this, my mother gets sick. I had to go back to Africa for 2 weeks. And the ethos of Ubuntu is about collaboration. And that's one of the things I want to teach you, ladies. It's when we start connecting and collaborating as women that we make a difference in the world. One person can't be an island. You know, in Africa, you will find a woman with a field of 10, 15 acres of land. And she will plow that field manually with a hoe. But the way we do it is the women get together and they come to my field today and they help me. The next day we go to your field, Nessie. The next field we go to Lynn's. The next day we go to Maria's. By the end of the season, all of the women have got their field sown. There is power in collaboration. So my friend said, what can we do? I said, we need to raise the money. And these 30 women chipped in the money that we needed for the venue. I arrived in Las Vegas without a venue a week before my first conference. 1 week. We hustled. We were online looking for venues. And we pulled off the first successful conference in July last year. Second conference was in Wellington in November. Second conference in Sydney in December. Beginning of this year, I started off and I went to Oslo, to Norway, had a conference in Norway, had a conference in London, had a conference in New York, and then COVID-19 hit and I had to cancel 15 events. Now you can imagine the financial loss. None of my venues could refund me. But I picked myself up and I thought, okay, there is an opportunity here. And I went online, I reconnected with my coach, Alex Mandosian, and recreated myself. Found a different way to do how I was doing things online. And it was just magical. So you've got 24 minutes to go. And today is not about me. It's about you and how I can take you through training and help you learn, help you leverage. I'm going to share with you why I choose women over the age of 50. My first ideal client came to me in 2013 when I started coaching people. Her name was Tuva Vine. Tuva was 57 from Brisbane. I will share my screen. She had gone through a divorce, a separation. sold a suitcase, sold everything she owned, and she moved to China. She had no speaking experience. She had no mailing list. She had never done anything, had never written a book. And she asked me to ghostwrite her book so I can help you write your book in 40 hours. We wrote 3 books for her. It's a series of books. This is her branding. So everything we did was around her presence in China. Her name is the logo. That is her name in Mandarin Chinese. And this branding style guide is a tool that you will use for all of your online presence. You need to have what's called brand consistency. So when you show up on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, your brand is different but the same. So we use colors and we use these brand patterns. Tuva created 3 books. The first book is called Tick. This is China. So we branded her books using an acronym. So Tick stands for This is China, TIC. And this was her story for the first 10 years of her life in China, how she started a career teaching English in China. Second book is called Mad. After 10 years, she started making a difference in China by sponsoring little girls in orphanages. So MAD, this is part of her branding. Third book, we then realized that Tuva could actually teach people to do what she has done, to empower other people, to change careers, to go somewhere new, to travel. And so she started a coaching program through her story. So I'll see if this video will work. It's just a little 3-minute video that she shared, which is on YouTube. I'll just make sure my volume is on high. Oops. Sorry about that.
Have you ever dreamt of having great adventures, traveling to exotic places, and making a real difference in people's lives? The 18th April 2003, having coffee with a friend at the Robert's coffee shop in the Queen Street Mall. And I was sharing with her my aunt's interest in life. In fact, I was complaining. And she listened patiently, and then she said 9 words that would change my life forever. She said, "Why don't you go to China to teach English?" And 4 months later, I was in China teaching English. You can change your life, and it doesn't matter how old you are, but how brave you are. My story started at age 57 when I decided to sell most of my belongings, put on a backpack, and went to China to teach English as a second language. Now, 10 years later, I've had a brilliant life, made a difference to thousands of children. I have made 100 trips around the world. Most of those trips were teaching English as a volunteer in isolated orphanages throughout Asia. My books, TIC, This is China, and MAD, Making a Difference in China, are about my adventures traveling across the East over the past 10 years. I was brave enough to leave behind everything that was familiar and set out on a journey of discovery. I have been to the top of the world, Mount Everest, twice. I have traveled across the roof of the world, and I've touched people's lives in a positive way. I could never have imagined my life would be so rewarding after 60.
She's amazing, inspiration, she's a fantastic person. The thing I loved the most was
She's making a difference. I thought it was great, and I could see how passionate she is about working with children and helping them.
Well, everybody has a story, and Toby is an example of the determination and will of women. And I say bravo to Toby.
She makes a lot of difference in people's lives. What she's doing in China is very admirable, and I have to say, she's an amazing woman. And get her, she's just, her story is, it's like, it's unbelievable.
Tuva, she's awe-inspiring. She has a message that is a message everybody should hear, especially women who reach the middle part of their life. She'll change your life if you listen to her. Thank you.
So that is Tuva's story. The reason why I put that video in there is because I needed a break. So sometimes you can use video while you're presenting as well. But what I love about Tuva is that she showed me who my ideal avatar was. She showed me who I really want to work with. I work with women over the age of 50 for a number of reasons. Number one, women over the age of 50 have the stories. They've lived life. They're decisive. They make a decision immediately if they see something of value. They don't have to ask the husband most of the time. So it's to the point. The other reason why I like them is because they outsource everything to me. That creates another stream of income for my business. I'm really good with doing things online. Some people don't like doing that. I have a whole set of virtual assistants who help my clients to get their online presence up to scratch, to monitor people who comment, who like, and keep their audience engaged. Some people don't like doing it. So she outsourced everything to me. Website design. So my business also designs websites for my speakers and my authors. It's another revenue stream. Does that make sense? So women over the age of 50 have got certain limitations, but those limitations can turn into business opportunities for you as well. That's why I like to work with them. They're decisive. They're just the most amazing demographic you could ever engage with. So that is how I met Tuva Vine. So can you see the possibilities of this program and how it can make things easier for you to jump on my back, learn from what I've done, instead of trying to do something from scratch? I think that's why people work with coaches. It's just easier to get help from someone else. So you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be a seasoned marketer to be a successful inspirational speaker. And Tuva is an example of that. One of the things that I found to be my biggest strength is being vulnerable. A lot of people are uncomfortable with vulnerability. I have found it to be my biggest strength because it helps me connect. If I'm sharing a story and I relive the emotion of something that makes me cry, I will cry. I have had men who come to my presentations who weep. And they thank me because nobody has ever been able to get through to them in that way. Do you know that men feel the same that we do, but just don't show it? So there's an opportunity. I've even had men who've said, Gertrude, can you start a his story, who have come to speak at my presentations. So I am allowing men to speak on the Her Story platform for a number of reasons. I had a lot of feminists who lashed out at me. Gertrude, we don't want men there. This is a women's movement. And I said, no, until we start bringing men into the room, nothing is going to change for the condition of women worldwide. They need to be in the room. They need to hear our stories. They need to hear our pain. They need to be part of the solution. So I allow 25% men to speak at all of my conferences. So I have 75 women, 25 enlightened men. It's important for us to engage with men. And it's out of these men who've come to my conferences who are now asking me to create another organization called His Story, So another opportunity has opened up for me right there. I never saw it coming. But I've had men who are able to be vulnerable when they come to these events. My vulnerability is my biggest strength. When I said you don't need to be an expert, the other reason why I asked you to contribute questions is because I wanted to weave the questions into this presentation, like I said earlier. I created something called the Visioneering Toolbox. So if you are on my sales page, there was a video by Bob Proctor where he was endorsing my Visioneering Toolbox. I met Bob at the time when I was developing this concept. I'm really good at seeing the end pictures of things, of seeing exactly where I want to go and how I want to get there. And I don't worry too much about how. So if you are able to see the end picture of where you're going, you can create it. You don't have to work out how. The how shows up. It's like during this presentation, some of you are thinking, how much is this going to cost? Can I afford it? You just have to say yes. I want to be like Gertrude in a year's time. I want to have a 6-figure speaking business, and the how will show up, and I will show you how you can make this happen. So the Visioneering Toolbox came out of me sharing with people how I've created 6 companies in New Zealand, how I arrived here with no money. And I didn't know what to teach because I've just been doing everything very intuitively. But I would just show up with no content for a workshop. I would show up with no content, literally. And I would ask people before the workshop, what would you like to know about visioneering your future? And people would give me questions. Then I would find stories of how I created what I created and answer those questions and wrap it in a story. So throughout this presentation, I have given you so many tips, so many how-tos, but I've wrapped them in my stories because people remember stories. That's why the best books ever written are parables. The Bible is full of parables. It's about showing people and not telling them. So if you give a presentation and you say, this is how you do this and you do that and you do that, 9 times out of 10, people will walk away from the presentation with nothing. But if you wrap it in these little stories, I told you how I made $10,000 by giving my book away. That's a story that's now ingrained in your brain, right? I told you how I quadrupled my sales by putting one line, buy one for yourself, buy one for someone you love, someone who needs inspiring. These are little stories that are woven into the teachings. So it's really important for you to remember that. So my Visioneering Toolbox turned into something like this. And I'm going to show you because this is a way that you can afford my services because I don't come cheap. Oops. Share screen. Where are you? Have I stopped sharing my screen? Somebody's sharing a screen again. Okay, that's all right. Sorry about that, small technical problem. Try again, share screen. Okay, so out of the Visioneering Toolbox, I created a workshop and I thought, if I charge $99, bring a friend for $1, it's $50 a head. If one person, if I market to 25 people, I've got 50 people in the room paying me $50 each. I could make $2,500 a day. If I did 4 workshops a month, I can make $10,000 a month. So it's all about chunking things down. If you decide to do group coaching and you have 100 people who say yes to your coaching at $100 each, you're making $10,000 a month. And the beautiful thing about group coaching is that you're not exchanging your hours for dollars. A lot of people do one-on-one coaching and they charge $250. It doesn't work. If you coach people in groups of 10, You can have 10 groups who you meet for 1 hour every week in a group of 10, like we're doing right now on the Zoom call. You're selling 10 hours of your time a week to 100 people to generate $10,000. This is why a lot of people don't succeed with their coaching businesses, because they're busy trying to do things one-on-one. And right now, because of this COVID-19, people are coming online. And when you coach them in a group, you make them accountable to each other. You create a community. They can support each other when you're not there. People meet their goals. They share their successes with the group. So seriously consider the one-to-many coaching model. When I do one-on-one coaching, I charge $10,000. And I hold people accountable to meet their own goals. I give you 3 months. If you come on board to be coached by me, you tell me how much you want to make in a year. I've had people who say to me, Gertrude, I want to make a lot of money. And I ask them, what's a lot of money to you? To a woman in Africa, to get $50 a month is a lot of money. To a woman in New Zealand or Australia, it's not. So unless you can say to me, I want to make $1 million a year, and then we find a way to work it backwards and create multiple streams of income around your content so you can meet that goal, you will never get there. They say if you set a ship on a course in the sea without a destination, will it ever get there? No, it won't. So you need to be clear. You need to know exactly where you want to go, and we'll work out a way to help you get there. So this is my personal mentor and coach. I've known Alex Mandossian for the last 25 years, an amazing human being. He's in California, so he couldn't be on this call, but what he did do is share a small video so you could meet him in person. This is the guy who's been coaching Bob Proctor, John DeMartini, a whole lot of thought leaders around the world. So this is Alex, and you'll all get to meet him.
Get ready, get set, and let's grow, grow, grow. Hi, I'm Alex Mandossian, and I have no idea if you and I have ever met. It's a bad hair day for me. I'm in a hotel, I'm in transit, but I'm doing this for Gertrude because I know you are one decision away from changing your life. I have a couple questions for you, and I have no idea how this is going to come off, because if we don't know each other, you may think that I'm a little over the top. If we do know each other, you know that I'm living into the person I pretend to be. Socrates said the greatest honor to live in this world is to be the person we pretend to be. And I read that every time I'm on stage. I've been online since 1995, before Google was even born. I'm a BG direct marketer and digital marketer, BG, before Google. And I mentored Gertrude for many years, over a decade ago. And here's my question. What if you could transform your annual income into a monthly income? What if that were possible right here, right now, 1 year from now? What would your life look like? What would your business life look like? What would your relationships look like? Would they change? I think they would. Now, I asked that question in 2001, and I turned my annual income into a monthly income within 11 months, doing the things you're about to do. Now, there are two types of fears that I face. Number one, the fear of failure, and that's the fear of embarrassment, the fear of not getting done the right things and failing, right? But that fear doesn't even hold a candle to something that is 10 times as worse, which is the fear of success. The fear of success is about shame. Fear of failure is about guilt. Fear of success is about shame, and that's about you not being proud of who you are. And I'll tell you something, in education, if you get an F in a university, in grammar school, in high school, at least where I come from the United States, you don't move on. But if you fail in business, then you know one more way not to do something. If you want to double your success rate, you double your failure rate. And there are two types of mindsets. The first mindset that you're in, I hope you're not in this one, is I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to play not to lose. And ladies, I have 65% of my list are women. I have over 800,000 people that I've taught over the past 25 years. The ladies in my list have taught me over the years, they play not to lose. That is not the way to win, because you can't win any game playing defense. You have to do whatever it takes. You got to play offense. You have to play to win, because when you play a winnable game, whatever game you're playing, you only have two options as results. You either win or you learn, and both options are great. Those are win-win. You go to heaven without the inconvenience of dying. Okay, if you keep watching, then I assume that you like what you're seeing. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But whatever you're offered today, tonight, this morning, whatever time it may be, it could be $10,000, it could be $1,000, it could be coming on a road trip with me and Gertrude, and on a journey that would get you something worth $30,000 for $1,000, or a possibility to license something that would be worth $100,000 for $10,000. So she likes to give 90% off. So I want you to know, no matter what the decision is, it's never about the money, it's about priority. What does that mean? That means if I were to ask you for $10,000 tomorrow, and I told you that I would give you Google stock at the initial public offering, IPO price of 2004, it was under $100. And you could sell it within 6 months for the current stock price, which is around $1,400 US. Would you come up with $10,000? Would you come up with $1,000? It's never about the money. It's about priority. The principle of priority is knowing the difference between what's important and what's urgent, and doing what's important first. Now, I've made $1.2 million in less than half an hour, and that was in 2007. I've generated over $417 million in the past 30 years for my partners, my students, and for myself. But my mother still doesn't know what I do. So I'm a big shot in a small pond. And for the people who do know me, they think highly of me. But if you've never met me, you probably don't even care. So what I'm asking you to do is keep listening to Gertrude, because you and I may cross our paths again, and you will be getting access to a $30,000 training for $1,000. Keep listening, keep watching, and I hope our paths cross soon. All good wishes. Thank you.
So that's Alex. And the reason why I wanted to share Alex with you guys is because if you come on board, he is helping me scale my business. So I'm licensing the Her Story conference, and this guy is incredible in terms of what you can learn from him. I want to have 1,000 licenses all over the world where people are doing what I'm doing under my brand. I'm selling my license at $10,000, so there's a business opportunity for you right here. And we generate about 100,000 just on the registration fees of the speakers who come to my events. So I charge $199 is the basic registration to come and speak on my platform. It covers the person's food, coming to the event, the workbooks that come with the workshops that I run. I then charge $447, so we could make almost $47,000 if people want the video content. So we get videographers to come in. I get a photographer to do a photo shoot, so they get professional photographs for their branding. And of course, I do the branding workshops during the conference as well. So there's a business opportunity. So I've got 3 offerings for you today. One is a self-taught program, a video course that I'm launching on the 1st of August, where you can self-pace yourself and do it yourself if you want to. That's my silver package. It's called my Authenticity TED Talk Masterclass. And in this, you're going to get 34 videos, 7 hours worth of content where I have shared everything I have learned about speaking over the last 20 years. In the first module, you'll get that overview of what TED is all about, how to anchor your why, so you get really clear why you're speaking, mistakes that people have made and failed to get on TED. A lot of times, if you know the mistakes, you'll craft a better presentation based on knowing those mistakes than just going in blind. If I had known when I did my first talks the things not to do, the first TED talk would have been more successful. In the second module, I help you get crystal clear of what is your unique idea. That's now refining your why. How to craft your winning TED idea. Is your idea worth spreading, and how can it change the world? That's what TED organizers are looking for. They don't just want ordinary people just coming to tell their stories. The tagline is ideas worth spreading. So how can we find out of your life story, your business process, something that can change the world? And how can you get 5 million views on your presentation? So after you've spoken on the TED platform, you're now talking to the world. So it doesn't matter if you get invited to speak at a TED event where there's 5 people there. It does not matter. What you're looking for is the TED branding, because people look at you differently when you've been on a TED platform. It's like people start bowing and scraping at your feet. It was fascinating when I did my first TED talk. So module 3, I show you how to write and to deliver your talk, how to express your idea in your talk. So my idea is the Ubuntu philosophy. I've done 3 TED talks around the same subject, but I'm now writing a book on Ubuntu. So every time I'm invited to speak at a TED event, I explain the philosophy from a different perspective. So in the first TED talk, and I encourage you to watch all 3 of my TED talks. In the first one, I focused on my life story. In the second one, I explained TED and used this pun on the whole software jargon that it's Ubuntu 2.0. Humanity's operating system was the title. So it's catchy, it's different, it makes people curious. I get a lot of geeks who find me through YouTube looking for Linux software. So I kind of branched out into another thing. So how to mind map your TED talk, how to craft your foundational story. You all need to have one story that you stick to, that you're known for, that you're known about, and how to outline your talk. In module 4, I'll share with you how to name and make your talk to go viral. So a title is very important. And how can you make that title go viral? And the viral talk formula. In module 6, understanding what event organizers are looking for. I've just shared a handful of ideas of what event planners are looking for in today's presentation. 2 things that TED organizers want to see: how TED organizers choose speakers, how to get booked, what is your first impression, and how to be accepted to speak at their events. In module 7, I will show you how to land your first TED talk. Step by step, there's a guide. And I'm going to give this first document to all of you, regardless of whether you come on board or not, for staying until the end. And I will give you my TED Talk application so you can copy, because there is a formula on how to apply for TED events. So, the relevancy of your subject matter. Every TED event has got a theme. You need to know whether your presentation is relevant to that theme. How to land it with a cold email pitch, and how to get a successful TED application. Module 8, how to deliver your talk. So it's all about the practice. You need to have a practice schedule. Why and how to monetize and memorize your presentation. How to conquer your fear of public speaking. 3 ways to be comfortable on stage. 3 ways to have a standing ovation. And how to overcome, again, your fear. In module 9, how to spread your talk. So after you've presented, you need to find ways to make that video go viral through the internet. And there's ways to do that. So that's kind of a bonus section. And then I've got lots of other bonuses: how to become an expert, how to position yourself, 3 ways to gain credibility and visibility online, how to get your first paid speaking gig, So I'm adding a lot of bonuses in just this very first one, and all of that is not worth a lot of money. It's just worth $997. The next package is the gold package, where you get all of the above, but you also get me. So in the first package, it's self-paced. You do it by yourself. You do it online. In the second one, you're now getting feedback from me. And this is what I do in terms of group coaching. All right, so I'm going to send you this link so you can all go online and decide which one you want. Again, lots of bonus that come with it. But I am looking for 20 people for the platinum package. I'm looking for women who want to either run their own events or would like to run one of my Her Story events and use my business model. And you will get coached and mentored by Alex. I paid $30,000 to work with him. And he said, if you can get 20 women who want to come on board, they can get my coaching for $1,000. So this is a package that costs $997. And if you are running an event for me, you get 50% of whatever we make for every single event. So I'm looking for my license holders. So this is the link to this page. I will put it in the chat and I will email it to everybody as well. And I thank you for showing up. I thank you for staying until the end of this presentation. Unmute yourselves. Let's see if we can have a few questions, a bit of a discussion. And on that page, you will see at the bottom where you can see the different payment options. You can either pay it upfront in cash or split it over 2 months as well. So put up your hand. If you don't know how, there's a little symbol, reactions at the bottom of the screen. If you hover your mouse, click on reactions, and I can then see who is putting up their hand to ask a question. Oh, Linda, you're on the call. Wave your hands. So Linda Ho is my franchise owner for Tauranga here in New Zealand. So if anybody is in New Zealand, we're looking for speakers for our conference in New Zealand. Linda, when is the conference going to be? I know you just got a venue.
Yeah, it's going to be 14th and 15th of November at the Tauranga Yacht Club with a view on the beautiful Mount Maunganui at the ocean.
Fantastic. So any Kiwis, please put in the chat so Linda is aware of who you are. She's looking for speakers right now. All right. So put up your hand if you want to ask a question. I can't see everybody, so you need to use the reactions thing or put something in the chat. Thanks, Wendy. I'll let Linda know. Okay, Maggie.
Hello. Thank you so much. You were so inspiring. I loved it. I just wanted to ask how much the gold package is.
Can I stop you for a second? We are now a community. I want everybody to get to know each other. So say where you are.
Sure. My name's Margie and I'm from the Hunter Valley. I've just written my first book. I'm in the final editing stages. It's not published yet. And I love speaking, but don't know where to go from here. So I'm very interested in your program. And I was just wondering, you glossed over the price for the gold package.
So the gold is $397. Oh, hold on, no. Oh, I'm getting it wrong. $997 for gold, $397 for silver, the first one.
Oh, $397 for silver, $997 for gold.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. You're wonderful.
And that's the link I gave you. All of the prices are at the bottom. So if anybody wants to get hold of Linda to speak at the Tauranga conference, Linda just put her email in the chat. Tendai.
Yes.
You are a home girl. I can see you're from Zimbabwe.
Yes, born and raised in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much. And I am in Australia, Melbourne. We are on lockdown at the moment, but I'm excited for what you've shared. Unfortunately, I seem not to be in the age group of your avatar, but I've learned a lot from what you've shared today.
It's never too early to learn. I see you're much younger than me.
That's right.
I decided on my avatar when I was 35. So it's knowing where your opportunity is. Thank you for sharing. Then.
Hello, hi everyone. How are you? A very small world. I just wanted to find out, is it completely out of the question for you to coach under 50?
It's not
a bit tricky, I know.
Okay, so this is how I work. We would have to have a conversation, and I have to know that you are committed. I find it easier to work with women over the age of 50.
Yeah.
They say what they want, they make the decisions. So we could have a conversation. Send me an email.
Okay, will do.
Okay, awesome. It could be an observation, ladies. Let's have a little conversation before we go. I've just put the link in the chat again. Cheryl, I hope you can see it. Oh, I see. It's not going to everyone. I'll do it again. Sorry about that. There's the link, and I will email it again. Sorry about that. So the first 20 people will work with me and Alex if you want to create your own coaching business. So just remember that. And you have 24 hours to decide, because I have another webinar tomorrow. So between the 2 days, but you can't attend tomorrow.
Oh.
Heather, you've got a question.
Yes, hi, I'm Heather McAlpine from Kiama, Australia, 2 hours south of Sydney. I've co-authored a book and called Elevate Your Wellbeing, and do a fair bit of speaking, but just wanted to do more of both, write my own book. And I wanted to ask you, how long does so it's $997 for the gold, and how long does that last for?
It's 6 months.
6 months. Sorry, I didn't get that on the.
The same thing with the coaching with Alex. It's 6 months.
And it starts from like tomorrow.
1st of August. But from tomorrow, if you register right now, you'll get your homework tonight.
Right.
A lot of homework that I expect from everybody between now. You actually need a good 2 weeks to get there, and I'll be working with you to verify it, so that by the time we start the coaching, we're going straight in.
Right. So in terms of time commitment, I guess that's what I'm asking, Gertrude. Roughly how many hours per week?
So you self-pace yourself in terms of how fast you want to go. But what I recommend is, if you can dedicate 90 minutes to 2 hours daily in the beginning, and then it can ease off as we go. It's all about us getting to a point where we've refined your idea with spreading. We've created the title. We've helped you create the audition video. So what happens with TED is you need to give them a 2-minute clip.
Yes.
And that's normally what they decide on. If you can't say what your idea with spread is in 2 minutes, you can't say it in 15.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's challenging. It's really challenging. So I start by showing you how to do the 2-minute. You do a 5-minute, you do a 10, then you do a 15.
Right.
So the coaching that we take you through, it's like building blocks until you get the full 15-minute speech. And even the 15 minutes, I cut it back to 12. Because when you're speaking online, you can time it and hit 15 because there's no interruptions. However, when you're in a live audience, if people laugh, you have to slow down. And you don't ever want your TED Talk to be over 18 minutes. If it goes over 18, it does not appear on the TED website. It's disqualified. So some people will go and they'll prattle on for 18 minutes and 30 seconds. It will not get onto the TED website. So what you're trying to do is to get onto TED.com, because that's where you start getting visibility. That's where you're starting to speak to millions of people. So there's an art to how to do it. And Yeah, you have to read your room. You have to even decide what to leave out if you see that you're running out of time. Ways to wind down and look like it was deliberate.
Yes.
So little things like that.
Yes, fantastic. Thanks, Gertrude.
Okay. Maria.
Marina?
Ah, there's Maria and Marina. So we'll start with Maria, then you, Marina.
Oh, hi. Thank you. Thanks so much, Gertrude. And hello, everybody out there. So my name is Maria Watson-Trudgett, and I live in Australia. I am an Aboriginal woman of this country. I'm a Wiradjuri person. And my desires and passions and my responsibility is spreading awareness and supporting our non-Indigenous people and organisations to become more culturally appropriate in their practices in their organisation. And I'm a gentle nurturer and supporting people to understand who we are and who our people are. And there's no shame or there's no wrong with me in asking a question, because you don't know what you don't know. So that's where I'm passionate. My question, and I'm sorry if everybody's sort of asked this, but I'm still not clear because I've looked back at the language in the on the link, and it said 9997, and I've got 997, so I'm not sure which one it is. The cost.
So there's three prices. There's 397, there's 997, and there's 997.
Okay, so 997's gold. I
no,
guess.
That's the last one. That's the platinum.
Okay, so 9. Okay, sorry everybody. I'll have a thorough look at that.
Okay,
Thanks so much for the talk this evening, and it was nice to read everybody's comments as well. So well done, mainly ladies. There were gents, and good luck with all your endeavours.
And Maria, you have an amazing opportunity right now. Diversity and inclusion globally is topical, very topical, and a subject that needs to be addressed, that needs to be, every single organization in Australia will be looking for someone like you right now.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, and that it is true. And I do this role nationally now. I support organisations, but I work in-house, and now I'm desiring it to take it into my own business and do my own business. So I'm writing a book, I'm creating content to support people, and doing some of the things that we've mentioned this evening. So I'm on a bit of a journey. So all of the sharing and hearing from you has been really wonderful. So yeah, I look forward to working with you.
Can I suggest you capture the opportunity as you're still working in these organizations? At the end of each speech, have somebody to use your cell phone and do what are called vox pops. Ask people what they got out of your presentation and capture it on video. Get the testimonials. Ladies, don't wait until the end of a speech or 2-3 days later.
Yeah.
For people to give you recommendations. You have to do it on the spot while they're still feeling something. So if you saw Tuva Vine's video, that was at her book launch. She had a friend with a phone, and you can then transcribe the words they've said into text. You saw on my website, I interviewed Bob Proctor, Mark Victor Hansen, and out of what they said, I pulled out the words they said about me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you need that credibility. You need people to see other people talking about you, so you're not self-promoting.
Sure.
And the reason why I have hundreds of testimonials is because I work globally. If you Google my testimonials, you'll find someone in India, someone in Japan. I work with all nationalities. So my social proof is the testimonials. They just come from a simple thing as a phone.
Yes.
And it's part of building your digital footprint again, because you have those on your website and you tag them. And this is stuff that you need to learn, how to put the tags so people can find testimonials for Gertrude Mache. Are you with me?
Yes.
Optimizing your videos is really important.
Yes. Thank you.
So let's just go to, so that was Maria. Who did I say would be next? Marina? And then back to you, Heather.
Hi, can you hear me? My name is Nina Brabot. I'm the author of Because You Can. It's a book that I launched a few months ago, just before COVID. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I fell into speaking through my book. I didn't expect this to happen, but through the book came my story about being accountable to myself. I was a woman in my 50s who had a goal and had an ambition and had a desire, but I left it on my pillowcase with all my dreams because I was never committed. Once I got committed, I did what I did, and it's a long story, and that's my speech. But people started asking me, how did you do this? Why did you do it? And it came to fruition. It happened. So I had to be accountable. And the whole speech and everything is about being accountable. My book is about 30 of Australia's most inspirational women, diverse women from all cultures that have made a difference. And I'm a photographer. I was an award-winning photographer, and I was a creative person, but I was someone that was, crippled with imposter syndrome, crippled with fear, and crippled with vulnerability. And, to do all this, this is how I came out of it, and I started to speak. My question to you is, to get onto this platform, and I've had a few of my speeches, like everybody else, I would assume, cancelled because of COVID, but to get your help with your 2 or 3 packages that you have, how much one-on-one time do you give?
So in the first package, you're doing that on your own. You can email me and I will respond via email once a week.
But you won't speak?
Yeah, once a week. In the second package, I put you in a group of 10 and I meet you every week in a group of 10. And again, you can email me every week and you get video emails in response. And then in the last one, that's the one-on-one.
When you say one-on-one, is that like you can call at any time? Is it like a mentorship? Is it like how?
No, so you're talking to me one-on-one every week. So you have an hour every week with me.
Oh, no, that's good.
For how long?
For 6 months.
Oh, okay.
6 months.
That was my question. Alrighty, thank you.
All right, awesome.
Hi Gertrude, it's Narissa here. I don't know if you can see me or hear me. I just had a question. I'm starting out as a speaker at the moment and just wanted to know if you only work with women over 50, because I don't classify as over 50 at all yet.
That was asked. Women over the age of 50 are my avatar. They are my ideal clients. I love them. And that's what I focus on. But I do coach women who are younger, but I have to pre-qualify that you fit the bill.
What is that kind of pre-qualification?
It is a conversation you and I will have.
Okay.
Because what I found is I give people 3 months, even if you are over 50, to meet your own goals. I'm very goal driven. If you say to me, Gertrude, I want to make $1 million in 1 year, and we work it back, monthly, quarterly, 6-month goals, you have to meet your goals. Because I will show you how to do it. But if you don't meet your goals, we have to exit our relationship.
That's fair enough.
I'm goal driven. I want to work with people who want to go where they want to go. I don't like wasting my time. And I'll be wasting your money as well if you can't meet those goals. There's no point.
Yep, sounds good.
Just email me if you're not sure.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm going to pick somebody who hasn't asked, and I'll go back to you two again. There is Marita and Sophia. We'll start with you, Sophia, then Marita.
Hello. My name is Sophia. I'm from Queensland, Australia. I have just a very quick question. The digital optimization, you are covering that in the course, yes?
Yes.
Thank you. That was all I wanted to ask. Thank you so much.
That is a very important thing, especially when you are trying to gain credibility and visibility online.
Yeah.
People miss opportunities to be seen. Because remember, you're now competing with thousands of people who are online, hustling, selling, doing stuff online. How are you going to stand out? And there's a process on how to actually create that online presence that I can take you through.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did I say was next? Yes. Marita?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you? So inspiring, your story, really, really moving. And like you said, everyone has got a story. So I am truly, truly inspired. But I think what it actually does is that it pushes me to get off my feet and to become more confident and desire to do what you have done. I'm also from the part of the country where you came from. So I feel like, wow, if she can do it, why can't I? You know what I mean? So well done. You've got an amazing story. Thank you. I've created something that's ready for a book now. Okay. But I'm also hoping to start coaching and mentoring in the area that I am in. And I feel like I now have a story, having worked in this industry for over a very long period of time here in Australia. By the way, I'm from Australia, Sydney. So I'm really keen to get the middle platinum, the middle, the 997 one, the package. Yeah. Would it be able to help me to write a book and also to fast forward me in the dream that I have? Yeah, both. Because in that package, you're getting the book and you're getting the coaching. Right. The first package is just the speaking, the video course, but in the second one, you're getting both. Right. In terms of writing the book, do you then point me to the right people who are going to help me to write the book and things like that? I have a team. So I have a publishing company here in New Zealand called Kiwi Publishing. Right. So I have a team that will put everything together for you. Excellent. All right. Okay, good to know. Thank you so much for that input. Okay, no problem. Let me choose somebody who hasn't talked. Sophia, you have, and then we'll go back. Kashina, yes. Kashina, then Michelle. If I'm saying your names wrong, please correct me. Say your name, where you're based, so we get to know each other.
Okay. I'm in Australia. Even if you try, you couldn't say it wrong, because when you speak from love, all pronunciation is just the words. Oh. I put my hand because I first time on a Zoom. I'm 65, and I was the one who interrupt you. You need to cut me off.
I'm sorry.
But love,
you are avatar. I love people like you.
And what I must say, forget all you teach. You being you, that's really what counts. And your story, it's what counts. And we all have the stories. But thank you for being you. I am very poor, but I can afford 300 something if I pay it in the payments, because I just want to be attached even to the bottom of your skirt. I can't go on the top, can't afford it. But miracles will happen because you are the honest woman. I just know it, okay? Thank you very much for being you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. We will do things together.
It's so nice because I never spoke on a, I was going to ask my sons, but you know, they're always busy. And I was so happy I could see you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
All the details, whatever. Just thank you.
Thank you. Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle. I live in Warragul, Victoria, and we are outside of the lockdown zone, which is pretty good. I migrated to Australia when I was 4 with my parents from South Africa, grew up in country Victoria, and I was a professional performer overseas for about 20 years, and now I'm a mum of 3. 2 of them are twins, and I've moved back to Warragul. But my question is, I now run a performing arts school, which is a version of performing arts without all of the strings attached, to make it more affordable and to reach different types of people, because that was my journey. My parents couldn't afford for me to do that kind of stuff growing up, and just trying to make it more accessible and teach life skills through performing arts. So that's why I've come here. I have a lot of people asking me to speak, and I'm 43. And I have traveled and lived overseas for a lot of years, and with my work, and experienced things like being mixed race and racism in different countries on so many different levels. So a lot of what you said is just really resonating with me. Even during lockdown, my mother-in-law passed away over in England, and you know, so many things. Being extremely vulnerable and transparent is I know it's my strength, but I really struggle with you know, the ugly cry. But anyway, the point I wanted to make is we've just literally bought a house like 2 days ago, and it's our second house. So we're entering our property portfolio, which is something I never ever dreamed. I'm breaking generational chains here. And even what you said about that is like totally resonated with me. But I just wanted to know if these fees and charges, is that just for now, or would that you know, if I was ready to take this on in 6 months time, once, you know, everything in my life settles a little bit, because I'm totally feeling a little bit burnt out at the moment, because all these amazing opportunities have just come out of COVID for me and my family. But with those amazing opportunities, sometimes you do feel overwhelmed, you know. And so I've felt the fear and done it anyway, and taken them all on board. And it's pretty exciting, but I can't take anything else on right now, because I think I will, you know, just burn out. Yeah, but
I'll tell you, this is a new program that I'm launching, and this is a special. I want to reward the people who jump in first. In 6 months' time, I can't tell you how much this is going to be worth.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. That's okay. It obviously in 6 months' time.
But if you were to get the first package and then you wanted to upgrade to something higher in a year's time or 6 years' time, you'll still get it at these prices.
Okay.
I just want to reward my first starters.
No worries. Thank you so much. And thank you for an awesome evening. Fantastic.
Congratulations on the house.
Oh, gosh, thanks.
Also,
thank you, everybody.
So we have Tendai, then Lynn, then Sophia. Make sure. And hold on. We'll start with somebody who hasn't asked anything yet. Yes, Shireen, let's start with you. Then we'll go back.
Okay, I'm Shireen. I'm living in Sydney. I'm 46 and I do holistic wellness coaching. I wanted to check in with you and ask, would Alex be in the gold package, or is he only in the platinum?
No, only in the 10,000 one.
Okay. Okay, that was all. And I really want to thank you. Your story is really inspiring. Very, very interesting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so Sophia Lynn Tendai, your hand is up.
Oh, is that me again, Sophia, or is there another Sophia?
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, I've already asked my question. Thank you so much.
It's indicating that you have your hand up. So Lynn, is it the same for you? Okay, it's down. So Heather, I can see you're waving there.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask, with the video, you suggested that great idea when you're speaking to put, you know, to ask a friend to have their camera and do live testimonials where people are still living with the emotion of what you've just said.
Yeah.
What's the main question you ask, Gertrude, in that? Is it what resonated for you, or how did you experience Heather's talk, or what? What's the one question that you ask your friend to say?
I normally say to people, what did you get out of today's presentation?
Okay. Yep.
And you almost want to structure your questions in such a way that there's consistency. So you could ask a series of questions. It could be, what was the one thing you got out of today's presentation? Would you recommend Heather as a speaker for your event?
Yeah.
And then you do the same, use the same questions at that event with multiple people. Because what then comes off is when people are answering back, all you have is their answers. But when people are watching it online, like they're repeating, they're answering the same question. Does that make sense?
Yes, so it's clear, it's consistent.
Yeah, you change it up with every event.
Yeah, yes. Okay, thanks for that. And there was something else, but I'll go to somebody else. It's okay.
Yeah, and any of you guys, if there's anything else, just email me after the event.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet everybody. Adrian, unmute yourself. Oh yeah.
Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm in Surfers Paradise in Queensland.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tonight. It was amazing. I have already learned so much in such a short amount of time. I wish I could afford to jump on board, but at this stage I can't. Also, you were talking about being very goal-orientated. My brain has slowed down enormously over the last couple of months. It's going to take me a while to speed up. So, yeah, it's going to be flogging a dead horse a bit really with me. But anyway, I just wanted to ask you, please, you were talking about, you know, just following on from Heather, you know, when you ask people what they got out of the presentation, you said something about recording it on your phone, and you called it, you gave it a term, Vox something?
It's called Vox Pops. So Vox Pop is it's a film terminology. I'm a filmmaker. And when you do an interview on the spot, they're called Vox Pops. Voice Pop. Vox Pop is just a film term.
Is it an app?
No. All I mean is just use your phone to record a video.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
It's just film terminology. Yeah, sorry about that. But just use your phone video to capture what people have got to say.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you for tonight as well.
All right. So Heather, before I go to you, let me go to Mary Louisa.
Absolutely.
Mary Louisa, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a story, and I'm 65. So I've just entered semi-retirement. I've decided that, you know what, I've had working, I got to do me. So I'm actually looking for something. There's so much that you do as you come along in life. All my babies have all kind of flown the nest. So I migrated to Australia from Papua New Guinea as a single mom, and I had 3.5 kids. I came to Australia, and my first night I slept at a park because I had no family. And the next day I went down to the real estate, and I said to the man, I need a cheap accommodation. And he said, oh, we don't have any. We just don't have any. So just to take you back a little, I was in a domestic violence situation, and yours faithfully took the kids to school that morning, and Mama picked them up and got on the plane and flew out of the country. So I kind of done it. I decided to do it that morning. Like, it wasn't planned. I just decided. So we came to Australia with 4 little backpacks, and in the backpacks I put long things to keep them warm, and a lava to keep foot over there. So our first night we stayed at the park. But that's like 22 years ago. But when I got here, cut a long story short, I went to the real estate and I asked the man if they had any cheap accommodation, and he said, no, we don't have any. And then there was this man before me, he had his own unit and he needed to shift. And he asked them if he could re-let it, but they said no, they couldn't put it on their market. So he sat there and he listened to my story, and he followed me out, and he said to me, excuse me, lady, I think I can help you. And I'm thinking, I'm new in Australia, like, this man must want something that I'm not ready to give. And he said, I can help you, he said. And I'm thinking, no, I don't think you can help me. And he said, just listen. He said, I need your help and I can help you. And I'm thinking, okay. He said, this is my address and you're going to be there before 2 o'clock. And then I sat there, I looked at it, then I thought about my kids, and then they hadn't had a shower, and I had to go to find a swimming pool place so that they could go and have a shower. We couldn't find anything, so we went to Kmart, the shopping center, and got them to wash their face, brush their teeth, and I gave them breakfast. About 11:30, I said, we've got to go and find this place. And they said, what for? And I said, because we might have, I don't know. I said, just let's go. We get there, there's a taxi downstairs. I go up the stairs and the kids stay downstairs. I had three little boys then. And I went upstairs, the man's coming out with his suitcases, and I said, oh, you told me to come to this address. He said, yes, here are my keys, stay in my house for 3 months. He said, don't bring any strangers in, don't steal, no drinking, no drugs, no sex. And I said, but I got kids downstairs. And he said, how many kids? And I said, 3. He said, that's it, all 3 kids, you stay. He said, I'll ring you tonight, I've got to go. He gave me the keys, and he said, everything there is yours. He said, I've cleaned the sheets.
Sorry.
And I looked at him and I thought, okay, yes. Anyway, he comes back about 8 months later. He had to go look after a friend. 8 months later, he comes back and yours faithfully is pregnant. Like, hey, I was 8 months pregnant. And he was so angry. He said, I said there was no sex. And I'm thinking, I was pregnant before I came.
So Mary, you are my ideal avatar.
I am?
My ideal avatar. I need to teach you how to do an elevator pitch, how to shrink that into like a few minutes.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What's the GST on your 999 package?
There's no GST because I'm in New Zealand.
Yay, I'm in.
To foreigners.
All right, I'm in.
Locals, okay. Now, one of the things about your story that's really quite fascinating is those little magical synchronicities, these random strangers that we meet. You know, girls, we're on this call today. You've all stayed online for this long for a reason. This is not an accident. I mean, Ruth will tell you our story, the way we met. They are these random little synchronicities that bring people together. And when you're awake and aware, your life can be magical. People say to me, Gertrude, you're the luckiest person I've ever met. And I've got to tell you, I have hundreds of stories like Mary's. I have hundreds. The way I got my first house in New Zealand is very similar to what you're saying. And the lady who got me my first property became my property investing mentor. She showed me how to buy houses in New Zealand 20 years ago without a deposit. And we haven't bumped into each other by mistake. We will sit in this box 5 years from now, and each of you will have a different story about the outcome. But a lot of people don't see the magic when it's happening. Now, Joe Bangles, you haven't said anything, and I would love to get to know you. You've stayed on this long.
Yes.
You want to unmute and just introduce yourself to everybody? And I think Mary Van, I haven't heard from you. Who else is still on the call? Let me see. I can't seem to get everybody on one screen.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jo Bangles. My pronouns are she, her. I am a leader, a speaker, and an LGBTIQ inclusion ambassador. I do quite a lot of speaking around in a very niche kind of field. So yeah, I'm always looking for ways to, I guess, better my technique. I am very much a speaker from the heart, but I need to fine tune and kind of sometimes put a little bit more structure into what I'm saying. So I found tonight absolutely fantastic. So thank you for that. And I'm enjoying listening to everyone's stories and hearing where everyone's from. I'm getting a lot out of that as well. So thank you everyone for opening up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say too, I've just been on your website. I've just sent you an email. Now, when I go to click on to, I guess, book a course, your platinum package is $9,997. So nearly 10K.
Yeah, that is an error. It's
Yeah. So I've just sent you an email because we don't want to sell ourselves short, and I know that was the opening line. So I've just sent you an email and a screenshot so that no one rips you off, because I think you're worth every cent. And it was a bit confusing at the start because on your website there's a 9 and then the 997's underneath. So I think, yeah.
Terrible error. I need to get my web designer to change that. Thank you for spotting it.
Yeah, sack him, I reckon.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Joe.
That's all right. I hope I saved you a few dollars.
You sure did. Oh gosh. So who else is on the call? Paramijit, where are you? I can't see you. Who else hasn't said anything? Ruth, you need to introduce yourself Because if everybody's going to be working with us, they need to know who you are.
Hi, I'm Ruth. I am 47 years old. I'm based in Harare in Zimbabwe. You know, Africa, we've been the lucky ones in terms of the COVID death numbers. So we're still a bit safe, still practicing social distancing and a bit of lockdown. I am a single mom of one 23-year-old boy who is locked down in South Africa University at the moment. So I just get to speak to him on the phone, and it's a new way of doing things, and we're just trying to adjust. I've known Gertrude for the past 10 years, the past decade. And yes, she's a energy, she's a force that will just come into your life and change things and get you moving into the next level. So I'm really, really excited to meet you all, ladies. And I hope I'll be working with you all in this program.
Awesome. Good to have you on the call, Ruth. So Ruth is my right-hand woman. What I have tried to do with my business is to reach back to Africa, to uplift, empower women in any way I can. So I outsource a lot of my virtual assistant work to women in Zimbabwe. Our economy is not very good. Women are struggling just to take care of their kids. Ruth is paying for university for her son in South Africa. So we have a great team in Zimbabwe of virtual assistants, and you can hear we all speak English pretty fluently. Thank you to the British. That is one gift they gave us all, is this common language. But yeah, my conference is a bridge between women in the developed world and women in the developing world, so we can pull our sisters up. So in every location where we have a conference, we choose a project focused around women and children, the elderly, the homeless, or the disabled. And we also choose a project offshore that we can support. So I can connect women in different countries so we pull each other out of poverty. That's the social impact for the Her Story conference and the Her Story circle. That's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, so before we wind down, anybody else like to say anything? Helen?
I'd just like to thank you so much, Gertrude. It's been amazing. It was seeing a post last, just 4 weeks before the Sydney conference. It was a friend's post. I had heard of you way back and then this there, and I thought, I've just got to go to this. I'm almost 65, single mum with 6 children, 5 sons and 1 daughter. They're all adults now.
Nice.
And I'm in the throes of completing my training as a pillar practitioner, which is holistic well-being. The power of words has been my mainstay for nearly 30 years. It's got me through thick and thin. And I've played myself down. It's time to speak up. I know I've got a story to share. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I loved the Sydney conference. It was amazing.
So you did attend Sydney?
I did. I
thought your name looked familiar.
Yes, I did. It was just, yeah, it filled me with so much inspiration.
Rita is an absolute gem. So Rita Barbagallo is my chairperson in Sydney. I'm hoping to do it again this year. Incredible human being. I wasn't there. I was very ill. After we did the Wellington conference, I couldn't even get on the flight to come and join you guys. But everybody I've talked to, she executed to perfection. So thank you.
It was amazing. But the synchronicity with how, because I'm not often on Facebook, like I said, and I just happened to see it, and I thought, if Diane McCabe's speaking, I've got to be there.
That is awesome. No, thank you for being here.
No, thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, what a Saturday night. Home alone. Home alone with these amazing people.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you here. Natasha, we haven't met you.
Hey. Hi.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you so much for sharing
your heart. I just resonated with so much of what you shared, and you're really speaking my language, but more on a sensory level. I really, really resonate with everything that you say, and I have really. I'm in Melbourne. My background is Sri Lankan. I'm born in Australia, but over the last 10 years, I've had a journey. I left a corporate life. I had the plan to earn my 6 figures by the age of 30, and I did that. I'm 42 now.
Okay.
I got divorced. I left the corporate job, and I went on a mission of seeking myself. In that process, I found my roots and my ancestral medicine, which is Ayurveda, which is like the medicine from India, or you might know it as yoga. You know, in the West, we've really sort of commodified, and we're co-opting some sacred cultural practices. And I'm really passionate about decolonizing the wellness spaces, and sharing this ancestral medicine, sharing the true yoga. Yoga is not something that you do or you go to. It's something that you are. And I'm passionate about finding my voice, and also Ayurveda is really about nourishing, and also nourishing and eliminating. It's balancing the mind and body and spirit. And in this current time, I feel like it's my time to speak about this medicine, because it gives us a spiritual grounding to navigate these challenging times that we have in the world right now, where we're in the process of a revolution and massive change on social and political levels. And wellness and mental health is really a passion, and also I really love caring for the elderly, and I value storytelling and our ancestral medicine from wherever we are from, and reclaiming rest and self-care as a radical act amongst this patriarchal system and against the system, and really bringing back the matriarchal way. So I really feel like I just got all your queen codes, like just dropping in from me, like you were just like, I felt your channeling. I also speak from the heart, and this is the first time I've really shared like this. But I went back to Sri Lanka, and I found many villages, like I was investigating herbal medicine and the culture. I don't know my mother tongue. I only know Aussie. But I have been wanting to share this story. So I would love to work with you, and I'm not sure how that will happen, because I'm underneath your bracket, but I'd love to speak with you further.
All right, email me. My daughter's in Melbourne, so we will meet soon as this lockdown is over.
That'll be wonderful.
My only daughter lives in Melbourne. I love coming there.
You're wonderful. I love your work. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. Gosh, it's been an amazing evening, ladies. Wow. Okay, Heather, you're the last one, then we go to bed.
Okay. Well, first of all, before I have a quick question, I just wanted to thank you very deeply, Gertrude, and the connection you have with giving to others. My heart's very much in Africa. We lived in a black community in South Africa during apartheid days. Oh, wow. And we've gone and run retreats, marriage enrichment retreats in Uganda for ministers and their wives, and I actually feel Ugandan or African in a lot of ways. So I just, the speaking from the heart, and you giving to other communities as a balance with the developing and our world. So thank you for your generosity with that globally. I wanted to ask a specific question. Tomorrow night, I've been asked to speak on a Zoom for about 90 Christian singles and early dating people.
Okay.
And I'm speaking on 5 pillars of the key pillars of long-lasting relationships. And my husband and I asked if my husband could join me when I was requested to do this. It was just somebody that came on to my Facebook Live group who had heard me speak and now has asked me to speak on this. And I would love to be able to sell my books with this process. They're just like with a lot of Zooms, you're asked to do keynote, a speaking engagement for free. I was asked if I wanted to donate to a charity, if the people wanted to donate to a charity. And I said, yes, Better Marriages Australia, because we're chair couple of that organisation.
Right.
But I would equally like to sell my book that I co-authored, Elevate Your Wellbeing. And I was wondering, you mentioned a comment in your talk about offering a limited edition of your book for the organisation, or a box for them to give, or to buy a box for them to give to charity. So I'm just wondering how I can do that for tomorrow night. If you can give me any pointers of how I could just weave my book into that, you know, for them to, you know, instead of, if they didn't want to pay for charity, offer a donation to the charity Better Marriages Australia, if they wanted to alternatively buy the book, how would I weave that in?
Okay, so you're not being paid to do this presentation, correct?
No, well, you know what, to be honest, the organizer asked, she said every other speaker has been, has just offered their time and the participants donate to the charity. But who knows how many participants would do that. And so she just started saying that. So I thought, okay, well, that's the norm. Oh, and then she said Patricia Werricoon, you know, who's a sexologist, had spoken just a couple of weeks ago. She was the only one on this Zoom who had required a fee. So I just chose to go with the donation to Better Marriages, but I would really like to sell my book. And I was just wondering how you do that with offering a whole box for charity. Do you say, would you organize, I don't know, I'm just interested in your ideas on how I can encourage them to go onto my website and look and buy the book. I donate $10 out of it for Breast Cancer Network Australia because I went through breast cancer 10 years ago.
Okay, so you need to find an angle, because when you're selling books, it's all about them. It's not about you.
Yeah. And the book is Elevate Your Wellbeing. It's an international bestseller.
When are you doing the presentation?
Tomorrow night.
Let's talk in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to take up other people's time here.
No, it's just that my brain is not working.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Send me an email. You've got my email, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk in the morning. I'll send you, let's talk in the morning. There's got to be a way you can weave it in a very subtle way.
Yes.
Because I like to show people how to sell without selling.
Yes. Yeah. I can't push myself. I can advocate for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I just can't do it for myself.
Yeah, because what I want to know is to really get my head around the organization and what outcomes you want. So I can show you how to weave that into your speech.
Yes. Do you want my phone number? Do you want me to email my phone number?
If you put it in the chat and your email, this thing saves the chat history.
Right now. Okay.
And then tomorrow morning, I won't wake up too early. But again, I'm 2 hours ahead of you. So if we were to talk around maybe 10 o'clock, my time is 12 noon for you.
Yes.
Yeah, then we can sit down and thrash it out.
12 noon.
Yeah. And if you can send me a link to the organization you're speaking for, so I can do a bit of research before we connect.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to think about what's in it for them.
Yes.
What's in it for them. And yeah, we'll work it out.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Gertrude. Really appreciate your wisdom and your spontaneity, everything. Thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure to meet you all. I'm excited to be working with you in whatever way. We are connected. So I am going to create a group from everybody who attended on Zoom. There'll be different groups. One group, not on Zoom. Oh God, I'm tired. On WhatsApp. I'm going to create a group on WhatsApp just to keep people connected, keep people motivated, sharing our stories, and then separate group for the different people who have bought the different products. But we will have one common group. The reason why I'm not doing things on Facebook anymore is because I've been blocked from Facebook. I'm trying to restore my account. I do not know how. It's been very frustrating. I keep getting this message that with COVID-19, you can't get back on. But what I have found is being off Zoom, I have created so much more time and there's less distractions. So I'm loving WhatsApp. So I'll do everything on WhatsApp. Ruth will create a group on Facebook so you guys can add more people and share more ideas. If you introduce anyone to come to tomorrow's webinar or any other webinars that I do give a percentage commission. So for those people who are saying, I can't afford this, I can't afford it, introduce people to come to my webinars and make sure that they put your name as a referral. Because that's another way. I always believe that the money is always there. If you really want something, the money is always there. If you found value from today's presentation, you can share my value with somebody else. You could get 5 people, get $500 off the $10,000 product and be able to afford my services. Does that make sense? Mm. If you really want something, the money is always there. So, have I talked to everyone? Mary, did you talk? I didn't get to hear your voice.
I didn't talk too. Oh, hello, Beatrice.
Beatrice, where are you? There's no picture, there's no name to your thing. We can't see you.
No, but I'm not sure.
Oh wow, your video is muted. So let's start with you, Mary, while I figure out.
My video is not muted.
Yeah, but we can't see you. There's just a camera with a line. So Mary, you start while I sort out Beatrice.
Okay. My name's Mary. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and my story is quite lengthy. I'm 52. I am a child of domestic violence or child abuse, sorry, and then became a victim of domestic violence in my early adult years, and found my way out of that, and then put myself through university with a child at the age of 30, and finished that with an honours years. So that was a pretty good outcome. I went into education and have been an assistant principal for nearly 20 years, but due to various traumatic events in the education setting, I had to take leave from that, and I've had 3 years of dealing with my own mental health. So trying to re-enter the workforce has been horrific because nobody wants to touch anybody that's had mental health disruption. So I'm at a stage in my life where I want to re-enter the business sector, and I'm now a mental health first aid instructor, so I can go and work with organisations that may want to identify people in their organisation and provide assistance for them. So I found myself about 12 months ago making a decision to move from Gippsland, which is a country region in Victoria, and I moved to Melbourne within 4 days. So I've made steps, and this year I have also been a guest person on 2 major podcasts here in Melbourne, and I'm trending above Tony Robbins. So
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So, and then you popped up and I'm like, this seems to resonate pretty deeply. So I think
well, Mary, you're in the right place because mental health is a huge issue on so many levels globally right now.
It definitely is, yes. And
everything you went through, they say that we go through these challenges so we can become teachers.
Yeah. I think the thing that's happening at the moment is leveling the playing field. I think there are some people who have never experienced mental health before that are now feeling it for the very first time. So if it brings empathy to the space, then that's fabulous. So I just hope that I can be, you know, a real activist in this area so that it's taken on from an early educational setting, because there's so many children that I worked with that are in domestic violence situations.
Yeah.
And if we got good intervention in early, we could get recovery happening for those kids sooner, as opposed to them having, you know, comorbidities as they grow older. So I'm very passionate and compassionate to the cause.
Fantastic. Lovely to meet you, Mary.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story. Thank you, everybody.
Looking forward to getting to know you.
Yeah, thank
so,
you.
Beatrice, you're the last one. We still can't see you, but we can hear you. So fire away. You're the last.
Yeah, actually, I think I did not enable my camera when joining.
Ah, okay. It's all right.
And I'm trying to go to settings and still I cannot.
You can't change it.
Yes, but you can hear my voice. That's good.
Yes. So
now, my name is Beatrice. My name is Beatrice. I'm sorry for that. I'm in Brisbane in Australia, Queensland, but I'm originally from Uganda.
Right.
I'm 34 years old, and I'm a single mom of a 10-month-old baby girl. And I'm pursuing my PhD in the integration of refugee women in Uganda. I have a story, and actually, I've always been telling my friends that I think I need to tell my story one day. I believe it will change someone's life. I lost my parents when I was 11 years, and being born in a humble background in a village, life was so difficult. But because my cousin picked me up to educate me, and today I'm doing my PhD. I did 2 masters, and I ended up when I was doing my second master's actually in Cameroon, I ended up meeting the so-called right man that actually I put my life on a line for his happiness. I've almost died twice giving birth. But unfortunately, I lost the first baby. And after conceiving the second child, he actually abandoned me. So I've really gone through a lot. And actually, it has been very difficult for me to speak about what I've gone through. But I feel now is the right time for me to speak. But I've been wondering, how can I do it? And when I saw this on Facebook, I signed it up very fast and like, let me see. And then like when I joined the thing, I'm like, oh, am I in the wrong place when you're saying I'm only mentoring women of 50 and above? Like, am I in the wrong place? And then also, of course, like when it comes to finances and my time, I'm actually struggling with my mental health. I'm seeing I'm like, I speak to like 3 psychologists, but at least now I'm getting back to my I said my PhD when I was almost making 2 months with pregnancy. I would walk past where I'm going because I was lost.
Look, you and I share a similar story. Ruth knows my story. I got pregnant when I was 22. Left Africa to get my first degree. My father sold his cows, 100 head of cattle to pay for me to get there. 3 months later, my boyfriend came to visit and I got pregnant. So I know where you're at. I know what it's like. But I tell you, that baby is going to be the biggest blessing you have. Because when I look at my son, he's 31 now. He's the most incredible young man. And if I had not had him, I would not be alive. I started seeing my friends dying of AIDS when I was 17. AIDS pandemic was horrific. And I was a responsible young mom. I always tell my son that he came to save my life. So when you're in the middle of it, it's all fuzzy and hazy and you can't see the wood from the trees. But life will pick you up. They say that when you hit rock bottom in life, the only way from there is up. I ended up, my husband, my ex-husband, I married him, but he asked me to abort the baby. I couldn't do it. So I broke up with him, ran out of food in London, ended up in Norway. That's how I got to Norway when I was 22, working in a musical production about Nelson Mandela, acting in a play. Then he tracked me down, persuaded me to come back to Zimbabwe to get married. I abandoned my scholarship, went back to Africa. We had 3 children. We were married for 27 years, despite the beginning. And then everything disintegrated in 2015. So why am I telling you this? Because I have had a rocky life with ups and downs and failures and successes and failures and successes. And what I've learned is when I hit rock bottom, I get excited because the only way from there is up. I want you to understand that.
Yeah, that's true. Because actually, I say I'm so lucky that I have this child because I see her now like my motivation.
Yes.
And because actually I said I'm telling my friend that I think I'm so lucky for him to leave me, at least when I had this child, and God protected this child, because I knew I was going to have a miscarriage because of the trauma I went through. From every corner, like it was really going too much. And like now I'm saying, like, because when I look at her, I say, oh, this child needs me. I've ended up getting actually health problems.
So let me give you something you can focus on that can help you do this. Wake up every morning or before you go to sleep, and I want you to write down everything you're grateful for. Start with the fact that you can open your eyes and see, that you can breathe, that you are in Australia, where there's a social welfare system. You're not in Africa. You know, sometimes we forget to focus on what we have, but we focus on what we don't have. They say that depression, anxiety is caused by us getting stuck in our pasts, trying to change things that can't be changed, getting stuck in our futures of an uncertain, where am I going, what's going to happen? And we forget to live in the present. So you're making yourself ill. You've got that little baby who needs your love. She needs your attention. Imagine if you just pour everything you have into that child. You can't change what's happened, but you have a gift. I know when I looked at my son, when the day he was born, I was counting his little fingers, his toes, you know, and I look at him now, he's 31, and he is the best thing that ever happened to me. So get excited. Get excited, and we didn't bump into each other by mistake, like I said earlier. There's a reason why you're on this call. There's a reason why I have to share my story. And I got remarried at 50. How old was I, Ruth? Last year at 52. An old chicken like me can do it. Why can't you?
Congratulations.
51. Yeah, no, I know. It's hard when you're in the trenches, but let's keep in touch.
Thank you.
So thank you, ladies. An absolute honor to have met you. Thank you for waiting and holding space for all of our stories, for those of you who waited until the end. It's really important for us to be able to do that for each other. Because they say that a problem shared is a problem halved. Beatrice, the fact that you shared it and you were able to share it with all of us, we're carrying it with you now. You're not on your own.
Thank you.
So I'll put you into the Facebook group. I just need all of your phone numbers. I mean, onto the WhatsApp group, and Ruth will put you in the Facebook group as well. We want to know how you're doing. Good night, everybody.
How do we refer people to your webinars?
Right. So when they register in the question, so the link that you got to register, when they register, when they ask questions, tell them to say I was referred by. I will ask people. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. Look forward to working with you. If you have bought a product, I'll be onto it tomorrow. I'll personally contact each of you and have a 1-hour conversation. So I will send you my booking link so we can schedule the time. And good night. Bye.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.